You think this is bad? This chicanery? He's done worse.
Antagonist Profile is a series where I talk about different antagonists from different media and discuss how well they are as an antagonist. In this video, I'll be talking about Chuck McGill, brother of Jimmy McGill and a partner in the law firm HHM. He is the antagonist of the first 3 seasons of Better Call Saul. What makes Chuck so interesting to discuss is that he doesn't start out as an antagonist in Season 1. In Season 1, he's more like a mentor figure giving guidance to Jimmy while still being harsh to him. Because he has a record of being a con man and Chuck always saved his ass. Chuck brought Jimmy into his firm as a low-level employee mailman. During those years, Jimmy was able to pass the bar and become a lawyer. At the beginning, it was presented in the way where Chuck will always be on Jimmy's side and Howard being the antagonist that dismissed Jimmy and prevent him from entering his firm, HHM, as a lawyer. At the same time, Chuck was always shown having a newness that made him suffer around electricity, caused him to live in an abnormal life where he stayed in houses that have no electricity and only use lamp as light source, requiring Jimmy to buy supply for him as he can't leave the house. Even in the beginning, Chuck was established as a person who views law as sacred.
You broke the rules. You turned Kim into your accessory. You embarrassed Howard, who, God help him, inexplicably vouched for you with Cliff Maine. You made Cliff and his partners look like schmucks. Shall I go on?
He is also a very determined and stubborn person. In the end, it was revealed that Chuck is the one pulling strings from behind to prevent Jimmy from entering his firm as a lawyer.
You know whose number? Hamlin's. The only person who could have made that call and deleted it is you, Chuck.
And responsible for taking over his sandpiper case or pretending to help him with the case. Howard was only following Chuck's instruction. After Jimmy found out, Chuck stated that he never think Jimmy will be good in law, greatly resent his brother for his past action as a conman, and believed him to be completely unfit to be a lawyer.
You're not a real lawyer.
I'm what?
You're not a real lawyer. University of American Samoa, for Christ's sake? An online course? What a joke.
And here, the truth of Chuck was revealed. He's a petty person that holds grudge while having a big ego, and loves to hide his true feeling because it is very clear that Chuck loved Jimmy, but he constantly conflicted on how he treats him. Sometimes dismiss him, sometimes respect him.
I thought you were proud of me.
I was. When you straightened out and got a job in the mailroom, I was very proud.
So that's it then, right? Keep old Jimmy down in the mailroom because he's not good enough to be a lawyer.
I know you. I know what you were, what you are. People don't change. You're slipping Jimmy.
Thing with Chuck is that he'll act like he's some righteous man, which in some cases yes, because he always follows the rule of law, but he'll get out his way to manipulate his brother. He can tell Jimmy how much he dislikes him practicing in law and be honest, but he chooses to act like a supporting brother, use Howard as a puppet to prevent Jimmy from being hired, and constantly manipulate Jimmy emotionally in different ways. Chuck is a very complex character with many layers. He's somewhat right about Jimmy that he will always find way to cut corner, not respecting the law and being a con man. There are some true it, like Jimmy entering another firm and he still find way to cut corner and find loophole. Chuck is furious at Jimmy's past and being biased that he will never change. But instead of supporting him, he constantly sabotages him. The bias is so deep that it warps his common sense when he's trying to persuade Kim that Jimmy is a horrible person. Like how can a kid bankrupt the whole business? And it's clearly shown in the flashback that Jimmy and Chuck's father is a bad businessman that keep getting grief. Sure, Jimmy is wrong, but blaming everything on Jimmy is illogical. The peak of Chuck's story arc is chicanery, one of the best episodes in Better Call Saul, starting with Jimmy messing with Chuck's document and losing the client to having to go to court against Jimmy, ending with him committing suicide. When HHM take over Kim's case Mason Verde, Jimmy chose to sabotage the case by committing forgery on Chuck's document, causing him to lose the case and let Kim handle it back. And you know, Chuck is a stubborn guy but smart. He knew it was Jimmy, so he started planning. First by guilt Jimmy into confessing and recording it into a tape. Then bait Jimmy to break into his house, break the tape and being hostile towards him while having witness and having backup tape. So he can bring Jimmy to the court and take away his lawyer license. We know Jimmy is not a good person, he's a con man that can't help himself. But Chuck is equally or more cunning than Jimmy, doing all this so he can punish him by manipulating him emotionally. In the court, Jimmy was able to use Chuck's mental disorder by putting a battery in his pocket to contradict his false statement about his illness and causing him to lash out and give one of the best monologues in the show.
He'll never change. He'll never change. Ever since he was 9, always the same. Couldn't keep his hands out of the cash drawer. But not our Jimmy. Couldn't be precious Jimmy.
In the end, Jimmy was only given a year's suspension in the aftermath of his legal battle with Chuck. After chicanery is the downfall of Chuck. He tried to push himself to recovery from his mental disorder. He tried to sue HHM and Howard for his own pride, and shortly after, he commits suicide. Chuck is a tragic character where his downfall is indirectly caused by Jimmy. And he's right, Jimmy can't help himself. He and Chuck is in a toxic circle that he will become a worse person the more resentment Chuck has for him. As an antagonist, Chuck is perfect. Even after death, he's still affecting Jimmy. He represents everything that Jimmy isn't. He only cares about the process, but Jimmy cares about the result. Jimmy will do the good things by using any method, and Chuck is the complete opposite. In the end, Chuck should try harder to make sure Jimmy is on the right track. And maybe that Jimmy's life will be a lot different.
If you don't like where you're heading, there's no shame in going back and changing your path.